Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Tilting Ground Untitled Notre Dame USC Football Podcast. I'm USC fan Michael Buto. I'm here with Notre Dame expert and writer at UHND.com, Greg Flamong. Greg, it was an interesting weekend for both our teams. How you feeling?
I feel better than you. That's for sure.
Okay, that's good.
I feel good. I feel good about what happened during the game. I was not feeling very well. I sent some unfortunate text messages to Tim, but
That's okay.
I think I rebounded pretty quickly.
Okay, so for housekeeping purposes, up at the front here, we'll get into all USC's doom and gloom after Notre Dame. So Notre Dame played Vanderbilt over the weekend. Vanderbilt, an SEC team, who a little smug after losing in South Bend, wouldn't you say?
Apparently they were salty.
Moral victories are a thing.
No, moral victories are not a thing, and they proved that they were better.
Oh, right. That's right.
Yeah.
It wasn't a moral victory. They're actually better than Notre Dame.
Yeah.
Even though the score didn't play out that way.
The score is just is not the smart man's way to know these things.
No.
That's for the layman, Michael.
That's not how they do it in the SEC.
No.
So anyway, Vanderbilt comes into Notre Dame. I did not watch the game live, but I have seen what happened. I was following along on my phone at the time. It started off real hot for Notre Dame. I don't know about real hot, but it started off good. The Irish were winning. I mean, they were winning the whole time, really, but they were winning by a lot more at the beginning. And then, per usual, I think Notre Dame kind of petered off. They let the other team back in, and we had a close one at the end. Does that sum it up?
Yeah, that's what happened. It was close at the end is understatement. They had a 4th and 4 around the Notre Dame, I don't know, probably between the 20 and the 30. They threw a pass to their best receiver. It was a little corner route. He leapt for it, and he had it, and he jumped in the air, had it in his hands, and he put it away. But when he landed, the Notre Dame player's elbow landed on the ball, and it came out. So incomplete.
And this was Jalen Elliott, if I'm not correct.
Correct.
If I'm correct.
Yes, that was the safety. Who
I feel like this is 2 weeks in a row we've got to mention his name on the podcast.
He's playing well, Michael.
Good for him. Notre Dame safety squad.
Wearing the Notre Dame safety squad. Wearing the fabulous number 21.
Oh, I like that.
By me. Good. Yeah, of course. So it was close. They jumped out. It was after their first 2 drives, they were up 10-0. They had a couple other long drives that stalled out. Like the first drive, they got down to the 1. They had, it was the 1. They had second and goal from the 1. Couldn't punch it in, kicked a field goal. Next drive, they scored a touchdown. Couple other long drives. They had to kick field goals. They were up 16-0.
Some missed field goals in there, if I'm not mistaken.
I think there was a miss by Vandy, maybe. Notre Dame didn't miss until the end.
Oh, okay.
When they not seal it, but they could have gone up by 8.
That's right.
So they wouldn't have been. And it was like the easiest of the 4 field goals that he made, or 5, something like that. Yeah, he made some like a 40-something yard, like a long field goal, couple in the 40s, and then he had like a 30-yarder. He just, I don't want to call it a shank, but he didn't hit it solid.
Okay, that's 3rd all time on the Notre Dame points list.
That's when it was like, okay, this is how it's going to have to be. That's fantastic. Great and good. So, of course, they drive down and almost give everyone a heart attack.
But that's Notre Dame football this year, right?
Apparently. I guess that's what they're just going to be. They're going to start fast, and then they just kind of hang on, yeah.
I mean, winning's better than losing, not to state the super obvious.
Yeah.
And the nice thing about college football, it looks like this season, is everyone who's not Alabama or Ohio State is terrible. So I mean, yeah, that's not the worst way to play football in 2018.
Yeah,
It's jump out, hang on.
I don't really. This one, I like I said during the game, I made the decision that I like this team is not good. They're going to lose a lot of games.
Which team? Vanderbilt or Notre Dame?
No, Notre Dame.
Okay.
Just because when you go enough time, when you can't do like basic things, like out routes are a little concerning. You know, it's little simple things that the way college football is played now that all the good teams can do. When you can't do them and you're having to punt and, you know, you're switching your quarterbacks in and out for no good reason. That's the thing. Like when you're upset and you're frustrated that the team isn't moving the ball, like every little thing starts to really make you mad.
Mm-hmm.
So like Notre Dame does this thing where they bring in Ian Book, the backup quarterback, in short yardage situations. And in the other two games, they would bring him in, and you think, and we talked about it on the podcast last week, like you think, why do they keep doing that? And every time, it never really became a thing because every time he would hand it off and they would score a touchdown.
Right.
They'd only bring him in like near the goal line. And it never really made sense because why would you take out your running threat? And in this game, for whatever reason, they got into a bunch of situations where they're running in a different quarterback. And it was getting frustrating because they were having to end these drives on field goals. So it wasn't working. But, like, it wasn't working because, like, the guy's just handing off and the running game is getting stopped.
And not a very imaginative personnel packaging.
Right. Like, so
you're doing all this smoke and whistles to just run
they
the
take
ball.
They take out all the wide receivers. They bring in a couple more tight ends. They get into I formation, and they usually just hand it off or they do play action and throw the ball to one of the tight ends. And I don't know why Brandon Wimbush can't do that. And they did it kind of late in the game when they got an interception and the corner runs it out to the 1.
I saw that.
Which stay in the end zone, but whatever. So it's 3rd and 3. And they bring in Ian Book and he just hands it off and they don't get it. And at this point, I'm getting upset. Like, why are you like you're doing the defense a favor? Like if I'm the defense and I see Notre Dame's running quarterback running off the field on 3rd and 3, I'm ecstatic. I'm like, yes, take out the guy that can actually hurt us with his legs and bring in the other guy who's just going to hand it off. Like they're going to run one of two plays. So like it makes it so easy. I don't know why they do that. And so like when that's
no, they did score a touchdown though off it, didn't they?
They've scored a lot of touchdowns off of it.
That's
but
true.
At some point, it's going to cost them. Like it doesn't make sense. Like on the first drive, it didn't work out. So, you know,
that's true. It's like we have a package where we only do one of two things. And then we have our regular quarterback and we can do anything, including those two things.
And then they tried to explain it. Brian Kelly tried to explain it today. Like we have because Brandon Wimbush, he scored 14 rushing touchdowns last year. He was phenomenal in the red zone. And so someone asked him, like, why do you take him out in the red zone? And Brian Kelly said, well, no, it's like a blue zone. What? Like,
essentially, we're not taking him out. We're putting someone else in.
So, like, from the 5-yard line and in, it's called the blue zone, and that's Ian Book's package. Okay, 5-yard line and in. Well, your own 8-yard line is not the 5-yard line and in, for one. They did it another time, and look, it worked out, right? They threw for a first down. They did another time at their own 40. Like you're doing this in just any kind of short yardage situation.
Right.
So
what did you like? What'd you like the most coming out of the victory besides the victory itself?
That's the other thing. There are actually a lot of things, right? So I thought the offensive line, like they bounced back very nicely from last week. Like last week they were terrible.
They've been a little shaky.
I wrote a whole article about it and I had all these video clips and the most alarming thing was I included 4 clips from the game. It could have been 20 clips. Like, they were really bad. And in this game, they came out running the ball great. You know, they didn't give up any sacks. They gave up only 4 quarterback hurries. It was just completely different. Like, it was they were a non-issue. And the only notable thing was how well they were doing. Notre Dame ran for 245 yards, 5.5 yards a carry. Like, they were solid. So that's good. The defense continues to play well, and I know they were kind of bleeding points and bleeding yards at the end, but they gave up 16 points or 17 points. You know, you give up 17 points a game, like, you're going to win a lot of games.
What did I text you? No one's cracked 18 points yet.
Yeah.
And I think one of the Notre Dame beat guys tweeted that no one's cracked, was it 18 in like the last 5 games, going back to the bowl game and the last game of last season.
So let's see. Navy scored 17. LSU scored 17. Michigan scored 17. Ball State scored 16 and then 17. So
yeah,
you're good for 2 touchdowns and a field goal, I guess.
Which is all the Notre Dame offense needs, apparently.
Yeah, and Brandon was a lot. He was a lot more aggressive. He was a lot more comfortable. He still threw, some questionable passes, but he's gonna do that. I think he was 12 of 22 passing. He ran for a touchdown. He had 84 yards rushing. So, I mean, on that front, Tony Jones Jr., he had his best game as a Notre Dame running back. I think he had like 174 total yards on 19 touches. So he played really well. And the thing that I didn't really notice while we did the pod, we do the pod every Sunday night, is like Vanderbilt, like they entered the game ranked 23rd in S&P Plus, which I know we keep talking about it, and it's like, yeah, but they weren't ranked in the top 25. But I feel like we should give more weight to S&P Plus because that's based on actual data from games instead of
just some guys putting names on a ballot.
Yeah, whatever the AP thinks or whatever the coaches think. Like, they leave the game, like, as we sit here right now, like, their defense is ranked 22nd in the country in S&P Plus. That's
pretty good.
It's good. I mean, they've been playing well, and right now, I think they fell to 35th, which is incidentally higher than USC is. So, so I mean, it's kind of hard for me to, like, they beat a top 25 team. Like, if they beat a top 25 team who was 2-0 heading into it, 22-17, like, nobody would care. But since it's Vanderbilt and they were 2 touchdown favorites, you have the sour taste in your mouth. So that's why I kind of came down, like, look, I guess it doesn't really matter, right? Because they did show progress on the offensive line. And that's super important. Like, it's super important. We're gonna know that when we get to USC later, but that's a big deal. They continue to play well on defense. Like, they're ranked 5th nationally as a defensive team. So, of course I wanted to blow them out, right? And they were in position to do that. They were up 16-0. Vanderbilt couldn't really do much, and then they started moving the ball a little bit. Notre Dame got bogged down a little bit. So,
it is what it is, right?
Yeah.
Let's see. So, offensive line played well. Defense is playing well. Okay, well, what was one thing you didn't like specifically? Be hyper specific here.
Hyper specific. Okay, there's a thing about Brian Kelly teams that they do like a bunch of little things wrong. And a perfect example is intercepting the pass in the end zone and running it out to the 1.
That's just it's mortifying watching.
Like it's just like when that happens, like why are you doing that? Like it doesn't. You need to be smarter than that. Like you need to be thinking the game, and it's like Brian Kelly preaches. He preaches attention to detail. Like that's attention to detail. Like, you can't get tackled at the 1.
Like Nick Saban would take your scholarship if you
right.
did that.
It's like a punt. Like you punt it. Like it's like they punted to the 1 yard line. And Notre Dame ended up having to punt it back, and then they ended up scoring on the drive preceding that. So that's a big difference. So that's like a specific thing that gets on my nerves. Like I thought the receivers were not good.
But I mean, this is like, week like 5 of the receivers not being good, or week 500.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. They were fine against Michigan. They were making plays in that game. It's just Chase Claypool. He's just so up and down. He's good one play, and then he's just like really bad the next play. Like he's dropping third down passes. When it's like you can catch it and turn it upfield for a first down. They had to settle for a field goal on that drive. He had another situation where he's got a block on a wide receiver screen. And it's just like the effort is bad. We can't get anyone open deep. Like every time Brandon Wimbush throws one of these ill-advised passes, it's an ill-advised pass. But the problem is the guy isn't open. So like Miles Boykin, like he couldn't make a big play in this game. Like they threw him several jump balls and he couldn't get to it. Claypool, just not open deep. They didn't have much in the way of big plays. Like the longest passing plays they had were to Tony Jones Jr. running back out of the backfield.
That's not really like a long passing play. That's more of a good on Tony Jones Jr.
Yeah, like great throws by Wimbush, by the way. I mean, phenomenal, especially the second one. Like when he threw it, I was like, oh my goodness, like it's too far. And then it actually goes right into his hands. I mean, it was perfect throw. So that was good. But I just don't – I'm worried about the receivers. I'm worried about the team's explosiveness. Like obviously Dexter Williams is coming back and that's going to make a big difference. But like the receivers, I just don't see them getting easy points. And the problem for Notre Dame, if you can't score quick, if they can't get quick scores from somewhere, then the offense is going to bog down because you don't have an accurate quarterback. And when they get into third down a lot, it's like third down is a bad down when your quarterback, like anything over 3rd and 4 is dangerous because your quarterback isn't very accurate. So it's like you're gonna have drives stall. So you need to be better on 1st and 2nd down, and you need to be able to hit big plays. And right now they're just not hitting that many big plays. They did it on Saturday, and they're not going to be a high scoring team until they can get better at that.
They got some time. They got at least one more game to worry about or to put things together when they play Wake Forest next week.
Yeah, and the good thing is that like I was so worried about the offensive line after last week, and then they came out and played great. So maybe the receivers can do the same thing. Like maybe it was a bad matchup for them. Maybe Vanderbilt has a couple of corners or whatever that they just struggled with, and maybe Wake Forest is a better matchup for them. So
this is the first game you've picked wrong all year, by the way.
According to Bill Connolly and S&P, though,
that's true. Had you known, had I checked in later.
Oh man, because he said Notre Dame would win by 4. They ended up winning by 5, and I took the points, or I gave the points. So
you gave the points. We thought Notre Dame would win by 2 touchdowns. It looked great for a while.
I was looking pretty too for the longest time. Oh well.
I'd rather it go down like that than win by 13. And the half point kills you.
Yeah. Well, it's like we said. It's better to be Notre Dame this week than like Wisconsin, for example.
This is true. Wisconsin, who loses to BYU, BYU couldn't even beat Cal.
Yep. At home too. Wisconsin lost at home.
I mean, in college football, man. Auburn loses to LSU.
Well, that was a big
former USC coach Ed Orgeron at the helm of the Bayou Tigers.
I mean, Northwestern loses to Akron.
Yeah.
Take a bow.
It was a wild weekend.
Yep.
Any other Notre Dame news and notes?
I'm waiting for Dexter.
So now, does he play this coming game, or is he back for Stanford?
I don't think he's supposed to. I think he'll be back for Stanford, but the players on social media are getting all excited about it. So,
because he's coming.
Yeah, he's coming, and they need him. It's like I said, explosiveness. They need to get some easy points, man.
All right, let's see what the line is. We have 7.5. Notre Dame at Wake Forest.
So this means, so I messed it up earlier. So this means on a neutral field, it would be Notre Dame 10.5?
Yeah.
Okay.
And Wake Forest is at S&P ranked 57th, I believe I just saw.
Yeah. So technically, the computer thinks they're worse. It's 7.5.
Yeah.
Man, it's hard for me. Oh, man. It's hard for me to...
Because you're pretty confident they're going to win.
It's hard.
Just, is it going to be by 5? Is it going to be by 5, or is it going to be by 10? You know?
I can't give away points to this team going on the road. I'm taking the points. It's a 9 a.m. game, which I'm actually very happy about. I'm afraid that they're just going to struggle offensively. Like, I don't think they'll start as fast.
Okay.
So
that's fair. That's fair. On the road. Let's see. You're 2-1. I'll trust you. I'll take the points.
Oh, hey.
Yep.
Michael.
Yep.
I got to pause for a second. Elaine's freaking out.
Okay.
So I'll be right back.
Okay.
Okay.
What is that noise?
Sorry.
The joys of parenthood.
Yeah, she gets these. If she falls asleep really fast, like she's super tired, she wakes up and has these like night terrors and freaks out.
Huh.
Yeah.
Can't wait to find out about that.
Yeah.
All right, let's get back on the road here.
Okay.
What do we want to do? How do you want
to? Where do we end it?
We're just taking points.
Okay.
Nowhere specific. Want to segue over?
Sure.
All right. I'll figure this out here. All right, here we go. All right, so Notre Dame will be giving the points, but we think they're going to win. And now let's go to our other team, the USC Trojans. Now, before we get there, I got an email alert on my phone today.
Okay.
That said, your website has been experiencing higher traffic than usual. And this just goes to show people love losing.
People love losing. That's funny.
That's what I thought too. So Notre Dame, hanging on for 3 close games in a row, and USC being, the dumpster fire that it is, gets the people excited. So what happened to USC? They lost to Texas, and I'm glad. I think this is a thing. So the Texas Longhorns are burned into every real USC fan's memory. Mm-hmm. Like, they pretty much ruined your life. USC was at the highest of highs. Matt Leinart, Reggie Bush, Pete Carroll, defensive players galore. It was a whole thing. And Vince Young and the Texas Longhorns came through and ruined the national title for everyone involved.
Right.
Now, what some call the greatest college football game of all time, I don't know. I don't remember it. So anytime I think of Texas, I just shoot back to the national title game, right? So this, I'm thinking, could be interesting because the Texas Longhorns maybe that was a harbinger of doom because they might have destroyed the USC football program on Saturday. I mean, this could be the beginning of the end of days now. I have no idea what to expect. When I sent my first 3-9 is in the cards text to Greg towards the end of the game, I was like half just being, sour. And then I thought about it. There's a Friday game coming up. UCLA could always beat SC. Notre Dame's going to beat SC. I just went through the schedule and I was like, oh my God, I could not. This could be true. This could really happen. 3-9 might be in the cards. Because who knows, after this upsetting loss to Texas, what is in store for USC. So, let's get to the game. What do you want to know, Greg? I want to know how I was feeling, where I was sitting, what I threw.
Well, so you had to have been – first of all, I know you were feeling great at the beginning because you texted me that you were feeling great.
I was.
They were up 14-3 at the end of the first quarter. They came out. They received the opening kickoff, drove right down the field, had a couple of third down conversions.
To Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Who we will get to because he is a wizard. And, they looked good. They looked poised. They looked sharp. Stephen Carr busted through for a 23-yard touchdown run. Everything was happening.
Everything seemed fine. They didn't look great, but everything seemed fine.
And Texas came out on their first drive, and they looked pretty good. But the defense held them to a field goal. Then the teams exchanged punts. And then JT Daniels hit Velus Jones on a 40-yard pass, like diving catch, super catch for him. Mm-hmm. And then ended up scoring on a touchdown run by Vave.
Yep.
So it's 14-3 at this point. And you just feel like, okay, like SC, they've righted the ship.
Like this will be, you're fine. Everything's going to be fine from here on out.
Yes. And then
I don't even know. The wheels fell off. Everything broke down.
And then Texas proceeded to score 34 unanswered.
Yeah.
And I mean, look, look, when you lose by 23 points, a lot went wrong. To me, the key to the thing is just there's one sequence where Texas has the ball at the what? Was there 2-yard line, 3-yard line? They're down 14-13. And the quarterback drops back and he's getting sacked in the end zone and he lunges to get out of the end zone. And he hits down at about the half-yard line. Not even the half-yard line. Like
he barely gets the ball out of the white line.
Quarter-yard line. I mean, he is barely getting out. And they go to replay, and it's apparent. Like, his knee is down.
His arm's down. The ball's probably down.
He is not out of it's a safety. It's a safety. And you can splice the
Bank of America has a new way to get a
morning. Did you hear that?
Yeah.
God damn it. All right. I turned it off. So it's stupid ESPN. I'm trying to find ESPN.com. I'm trying to find the full game stats. And I can't be on the page because they got to show these stupid videos. It's annoying. It makes me upset. Anyway. And they go to replay, and it's just like he's down, and you can splice together the replays, right? That you can do it so that you can sync them up, and you can see where his knee is and where the ball is. And they come back and they say play stands is called. So they run it out again for like a 2-yard gain, or whatever.
Small run.
Yeah. Then they go to punt, and this kid for USC breaks through, and it's like he doesn't even have to block the kick. He could just knock the punter like out of the end zone. And instead, he tries to block it. He misses it, and he roughs him.
Right.
And USC was going to get the ball at like the Texas 40 because that's where Tyler Vaughn's fair caught it. And instead, it's roughing the kicker. And so then Texas gets the first down. They didn't do anything on the drive, but it was about to be 16-13 USC getting the ball.
Right.
That it was 14-13, and then they punted back to him later. SC didn't do anything, and then Texas went down and kicked a field goal to go up at halftime. So after all that, after the perfect start, 14-3, you end up being down at half. And then Texas gets the ball to start the second half, and they go down and score a touchdown. And
quick touchdown.
And it's just, okay, this is not good.
But you're still in it. I mean,
you're still in it, but you could tell, like, oh boy, like because then by that point, SC hadn't
done anything in a while.
They hadn't done anything on offense in a quarter. So, I mean, yeah, you could just kind of.
The defense got a big stop though in the third quarter. It was about to get real bad, and they forced a turnover.
They did. They held the kid up. I think the Texas was at the 5 or the 10, something like that. I mean, they were going in, and they held the kid up, and he fumbles, and it was recovered. And then the ensuing drive was the one that led to the blocked field goal return for a touchdown.
Right. About the defense, I was talking to somebody about it, and I was like, you know what this defense does? They make sure it's never their fault the team lost. They may not play the best, they may not play the worst, but they're always going to keep the offense in it to whatever level they need the game to be at. But they're not going to make a play to break the game open, and they're not going to get totally, blown out. It's like they play just whatever the bar is for this particular game. That's what the defense does.
Well, see, here's the thing. Is Ajini Harris a captain?
He might be.
Because, look, it's 14-3, right? And Texas is still in that mode where it's like they're feeling a little shaky themselves because, you're down double digits at home, and people aren't feeling too hot about Texas football right about now because, they dropped the game to Maryland, and last year was terrible. And they get a quick little out route to this guy
with a silly name.
And a Genie Harris comes up, whiffs the tackle, and the guy turns and runs 50 yards for a touchdown, untouched. Like, he just turns and runs straight. There was nobody left.
It was not great.
And you can't miss the tackle, man.
No.
I mean, you've been on this team for however long, and the thing of it is, when your leaders miss plays like that, it just, because you've got Isaiah Langley on the other side, and you've got Greg Johnson right there, and you say, look, Genie Harris is missing tackles. So if that guy is not making plays, then what chance do I have out here?
I guess, man.
You need the stars. You need the guys, the older upperclassmen. Like, you just can't miss it. You can't miss the tackle. And so they went down. It was 14-10, and Texas was like, okay, we're in this. So when is it that you want to talk about the running game?
Let's just go. I mean, so USC had negative rushing yards on the day. And now if you adjust for quarterback sacks, they had 24 rushing yards on 13 carries. But I want to remind you that one of those carries was a 23-yard touchdown run. So
Stephen Carr.
Take a second to do the math, everybody.
Stephen Carr finished the game with 13 yards rushing. He had a 23-yard scoring play.
That's maddening.
It's not even maddening. It's actually, like, incredible.
How's that possible?
It's impressive.
How's that a thing that happened?
I've never heard of that. I've never heard of it. Ever. I mean, look, Texas was fired up. Okay, they were.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no getting around it. You cannot have your freshman quarterback go on the road and you have negative yards rushing.
No, that's not a recipe for success.
You will get destroyed every single time with something like that.
I don't know how they're so bad. I can't put my finger on, like, what it is. Is it scheme? Is it execution? Is it all of it? It's just so terrible.
The thing is like they have players. I mean, Stephen Carr, everyone in the country wants him to be there.
I mean, you saw his touchdown run. It was a great run.
Great run.
He broke a tackle and then got like 10 more yards after he broke the tackle.
I mean, a week ago, Tulsa against Texas, 38 carries, 189 yards, 5 yards a carry, 2 touchdowns.
You can't tell me that Tulsa has better players than USC.
It's not just better players, like they have a better scheme, like they have a better offense.
You can tell me that, I'd believe that. But
I mean, no, but it's just like
it shouldn't be.
But the thing is that USC they have to have a running game because you can't have JT Daniels throwing the ball 48 times.
Because he's 18 years old.
He's 18 years old. You can't do it. He's not ready for that. And Stephen Carr, 6 carries. Cedric Ware, 5 carries. Vave, 3 carries. Like, it's just...
But what are you doing?
You're just that... There's no... And the thing is, Michael, is you were up 14-3.
So there should have been more running.
Right. Like, you had your opportunity.
If college football theory holds true.
Yeah, it's not like you got down.
Yeah, they were playing catch up the whole time. They got up early.
You can't do it.
I don't know, man. It's just maddening. How do you get negative yards rushing? when you're USC. You're playing Texas. Texas is terrible. Fun fact: we've talked about Texas every year on this podcast because one of our teams has played them.
Correct.
So Gary Johnson, we've seen your whole career. You're a fine middle linebacker. I hope the best for you.
We've seen your whole career. Oh man, they're tough at home though. I'll give them that.
Whatever, man. So let's talk about the one bright spot. The one thing that makes me happy is that USC probably has the best freshman in the nation, one of the best receivers in the nation, Amon-Ra St. Brown. This kid is unreal.
I don't know if he's like one of the best freshmen or the best one because I haven't seen a bunch of other kids. What I do know is that he is awesome. He is great.
He's unreal.
He's so good. And I like the thing is he's always doing it right. He's always doing the right thing. Like
the right pattern. He's in the right spot. He breaks his routes off the right way.
Yes.
He finds a soft spot in the zone, or he goes deep, or GT throws a bad ball. He still can find a way to get a hand on it. Like he adjusts to the ball in the air. It's crazy.
Like the long pass that he caught in the first half. On their on the drive where they tried to run toss sweep on 4th and 1.
Oh yes.
Which was just like 4th and 1 from the 1.
Spread it out.
God,
sprint it out.
How can you do it anyway?
They don't have a fullback, man.
I mean, look, if you're gonna run a toss sweep, then run it to Amon-Ra for 1.
That's a great point.
But the long pass he caught on that drive. That
underthrown
has to be intercepted,
right?
But it isn't because Amon-Ra timed it perfectly and went up and got the thing, and it's like, of course he did. Oh,
he's the best player on the field. It's unreal.
This I almost don't even believe this. USC has 1 receiving touchdown this year. And it's by him. He is the only one with a receiving touchdown.
That's crazy.
He has 18 catches for 304.
And
Tyler Vaughns has 14 for 157.
Yeah, thanks for showing up.
Man.
So I have a bone. Speaking of Amon-Ra St. Brown, I have a bone to pick with the Los Angeles Times photo desk.
Okay.
So if you get the Los Angeles Times, on the front page, there's all, Troy's burning, whatever, headlines. Clay held stupid face with the headset on.
Oh.
But anyways, there's a picture of, I can't remember the Texas guy's name, like DJ Foster or something like that. I don't think that was his name. Targeting Amon-Ra, and it's right after the targeting hit.
Yeah.
And the ball is in the air. And the caption is, Texas lays a hard hit. It's just like Texas hard hit on Amon-Ra St. Brown, pops the ball loose. And that is just a very deceiving caption because, 1, it was an illegal hit, and 2, the ball was loose for 5 seconds because he caught it before it even got out, hit the ground. It was an incredible play by someone who just got their bell rung.
No, that's not an incredible play. That's an impossible play. Like, I am in awe of what happened because he was hammered. He was hit so hard.
Thanks, JT Daniels.
He was running across field. I mean, he didn't see the guy, or I think he came up, like he kind of came.
Right. Yeah.
Like
he was behind the play. And
someone was kind of like from the side. It
worked out perfectly for the defender.
And he just, crushed him.
His mouthpiece came out.
Mouthpiece comes out. The ball goes flying in the air. And I've been hit like that. Like, not as hard as that, but I've been hit like that. And what happens is you just kind of don't know where you are for a second. Like, suddenly the sky is right there and you're looking at it and you don't know what's going on, right? Just for a sec. Because it's disorienting, And you watch the replay, and he gets hit, and the ball goes flying up, and you can tell, like a split second after, he's looking up and he's looking for it, and then he reaches up and catches the ball. It's an incredible play, and it's like this guy. It's like he won't fumble, and even if he does fumble, he's going to do the amazing thing to get it back.
Yeah,
I can't get over him.
He is the one bright spot on this season.
I can't get over it.
I believe I sent you a text halfway, or 3/4 of the way through the game. I said, "I'm just here for number 8."
Man, he is great. He is so good.
So it's nice. It's nice to have that one bright spot. But
Yeah.
everything else.
You want
is
to talk
awful.
about special teams, Michael?
I mean, I'm here to talk about USC special teams.
You love John Baxter.
They got off easy last week. And their only miscue last week was fielding a punt, that was going towards the end zone over the guy's shoulder, but whatever. This week was just, more of the same, really. Let's see, punting. Punting was terrible. There was a 12-yard punt, I think. There was the punt block penalty. There was another bad punt. I mean, they have 2 punters on scholarship, and they just can't get the ball downfield, which is fantastic. But the most egregious thing that happened, partially Clay Helton's fault, I think, right? It's 4th down. USC's losing, and it's a long field goal. It's like 52 yards, I think. And this is a field goal Chase McGrath has missed at Stanford. It's a little too long. They should probably go for it with the offense. They go to kick the field goal. The field goal gets blocked. Not only does the field goal get blocked, but the Texas defense scoops the ball up and scores a touchdown. And not only do they score a touchdown, chasing down the Texas player who scored the touchdown, USC kicker Chase McGrath tears his ACL. And probably what is just one of the worst USC special teams plays in a while, and they have a lot of them. So when asked about Coach John Baxter after the game, Clay Helton said he's one of the best special teams coaches I've ever been around.
Maybe he hasn't been around that many good special teams coaches.
That's kind of what I'm thinking.
Like maybe it's like because
they're terrible.
His previous special teams coach can't feel very good about that comment.
Velus Jones has never. Let's see, what is it? So if you down a ball in the end zone, what do you get? 25?
Yeah.
So he returns it out of the end zone constantly and never crosses the 25. It's amazing. It's just amazing. Every little thing they can do wrong, they do wrong. They're awful. They're awful on special teams.
There are things that I don't understand. I don't understand punters who just shank punts.
It's weird, right?
It is. It's all you do
consistently too.
It's like you just, and it's like I get it happens like once. It's like you're a punter. Like it's
like the USC guys have been doing this all season long. Like Notre Dame's guy did it in one game, and he's been fine since.
He was awesome on.
Saturday. He was the player of the game. I saw that.
He was.
Yeah, I don't get it. They have two, Greg. They have 2 punters on scholarship, and neither of them can do it.
Yeah, I don't understand.
I heard they spend 1/3 of every practice on special teams. That can't be true. It just can't be true.
I saw online on Twitter there were people who were like thinking he spent. I don't know if they thought he spent too much time on it,
maybe,
or not enough time. Like it was like
whatever the time allotment is, it's not the appropriate one.
1/3 of every practice is kind of a lot, in my opinion.
I think they said Pete Carroll worked on special teams like at one practice once a week.
Okay, so
like,
then
like maybe
you don't get enough out of it, is what they were saying. Because, yeah, I remember in junior college we hardly ever practiced special teams.
And look, I'm a big believer in you should practice special teams. Like those are the little things that help you win games. It's probably worth it. However, I don't know what they're doing because allegedly they are practicing special teams. And they're always bad. They're always a train wreck. They always do something stupid.
It killed them. I mean, it's so demoralizing. Like you have like, 4th and whatever, and you're kicking from your own 38, and the guy kicks it to the 50. It's like, Okay, we could have gone for it.
It's like, now what? Yeah.
But this team, I think the thing that really made me mad, and I didn't really see any talk about it on Twitter afterwards from the USC folks, was Clay Helton punting. I mean, there's like 8 minutes left.
Oh, I know. I think everyone was just over this, so it didn't even matter.
They were down 37-14. There's like 8 minutes left, and it was fourth and 12, and he's in plus territory, and I see him mouthing the words punt.
Yeah.
And then I go, why are you punting? Like,
because he's a loser.
For
That's
what
losers
purpose?
do.
Like, what? You're gonna pin him deep? Like, you need.
And they did. I mean, in his defense,
they did, but then it's like,
what's the point?
They burned 3 minutes off the clock. Like, you need points. Like 8 minutes is 8 minutes. This is college football.
Yeah, you could always. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what he's thinking. I don't know what he does. They never rush either. I know we've said this a lot on the podcast, but they never hurry up. They never run. They're always like at half pace, setting up the offense.
Yeah,
and then they run the play. It's like, hey guys, you're down by about 3 scores if you get the 2-point conversions.
Yeah,
it's like, come on, that's a little urgency.
Yeah, I don't understand how you punt. Like, it's what message does it send to your team? It's like, we're punting. We're punting. Like, can you just sub us out then?
Yeah, right. Just throw a deep pick. Just whatever. No, you want to know what really is the epitome of Clay Helton? So, like I mentioned earlier, in the third quarter, the USC defense got a big stop. They got a turnover. The USC offense trots out on the field, promptly have to call a timeout because they don't know what to do.
Yes.
It's like, what are you doing? You just got on the field. Why do you need to call a timeout?
Well, Brian Kelly topped that a couple years ago. So, like, Notre Dame did that to start the game.
That's nice.
That is tight.
I mean, Clay Helton's never been one to worry about conserving his timeouts. So,
yeah.
My personal motto is, in the first half, you can call timeouts whenever, because I just don't want the team losing the game in the first half, right?
Right.
It's like, hey, let's get this straight. Let's just talk this over. Let's not mess up. But in the second half, you got to save them. I'm sorry. Figure it out.
I don't know, man. I just feel like with what this team is, see, it's hard because they have so many good receivers.
They're going to win 8 games, man. That's the worst part.
Well, let's see. Washington State isn't terrible.
Yeah, but they're going to win. Come on.
Colorado isn't terrible.
Yeah, Colorado might beat them.
See, here's the thing. Why do you think they're going to beat Washington State?
I just can't imagine them losing 3 in a row.
See, that's not a good reason.
That's not a great reason, but they're better. The problem is they have better players than every team they play.
Could you imagine? I mean, could you imagine them not scoring a touchdown for a full game?
That's a great point. I cannot imagine that.
Could you imagine them?
UC Davis scored a touchdown against Stanford.
Could you imagine them giving up 34 unanswered points?
I mean, now I can.
Now you can, right? So, not being able to imagine it. Because let me tell you something, Michael. I could not imagine that Notre Dame would go 4-8.
2 years ago?
Post 10-3. That was 2016, my friend.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's on the writing's on the wall. I'm not going to be shocked if this thing falls apart.
I mean, at some point, these running backs are going to have to get unhappy, right?
They might be there. Cedric Ware said he thought practices were lazy and unfocused, or something along those lines. That was his quote after the game, which is not a great quote.
So part of the reason Like, because USC, every practice is open, right?
Uh-huh.
If I want to go to practice tomorrow, I can. Right?
Yep.
So, on the one hand, that's great for access. On the other hand, it's not great because then everyone can go and see what your practices are like. And because practices are always open, you can compare what Clay Helton does to, say, Pete Carroll.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that Ryan Abraham and a couple of the other USC beat guys have been unimpressed with what they do in practice.
I mean, we're unimpressed with what they do in the games. I can't imagine practices are
Right. So
much better.
Like
you practice like you play, or you play like you
the way that they
practice.
run practice. So they were saying like something needs to change prior to Stanford, and then nothing changed, and then they got out and got boat raced. And so now it's like, well, you didn't change anything in practice. And once that becomes a narrative with fans, that's a big problem.
Yeah. So wait, we're doing the schedule. So they got Washington State on a Friday, mind you, which is not great.
That's what makes me kind of nervous.
Yeah. So you have a short week to play Washington State at home in the Coliseum on a Friday night.
Mm.
So, and Washington State loves to beat USC.
And then you go to Arizona, who's trash.
I mean, but they got to win one, right? Arizona's not going to lose every game.
Well, see, so here's the thing. If you're being like, well, I don't know about Arizona, if you're doing that, then, you know, 3-9 really is in play. Arizona's bad.
Arizona is bad. That's true.
So Washington State, then you're home for Colorado.
They're good.
They're good. And then at Utah.
Who's always trouble for USC.
Who's always giving USC problems. And then the fighting Herm Edwards is.
Who Greg will think will be done by this time in the season.
So they lost to San Diego State.
Controversial.
Was it?
Yeah, I don't quite know exactly what happened, but there was a long play. They got called back or something at the end.
Okay. And look, like losing to San Diego State isn't really indicative. Like Stanford lost to San Diego State last year and still whipped on Notre Dame. So
San Diego State's an okay squad. They're not, you know.
Once you get past that game, then you've got Oregon State, who is,
that should be a win. But you are at Oregon State.
Yeah, that's true. But Oregon State isn't really even an FBS team anymore.
Thankfully, it's on a Saturday.
Yes. Then you have home Cal.
Cal's good,
UCLA.
man.
Is Cal good?
Yeah, I think Cal's good.
I'm going to go, what?
They beat North Carolina. They beat BYU. They beat whoever they played last week because they're 3-0.
They beat Idaho State.
Okay. That one's not very indicative of
Well, look,
good.
we'll find out about Cal this weekend. They play Oregon.
Right.
At home. Man, USC is so lucky they miss Oregon and Washington.
Yeah.
So
and then the rivalry games. They end with the two rivalry games.
Yeah, and then you got UCLA,
UCLA's terrible,
and then Notre Dame, who knows what they'll be by that point. So I don't know. I think more likely 7-5.
They could still win the Pac-12 South.
Of course they could.
I mean, these teams aren't that good. Let's be real. Like Arizona State, Arizona, UCLA.
No.
And then some of the other teams beat each other. Like, come on. That's the worst part of all this. That's the part that makes me the most mad.
I think it's the best part.
For you.
Actually, it is the best part for me.
Because what if they win the Pac-12 South and then they get to go to the Pac-12 title game?
Love it.
Oh.
Please.
What if they do what they did 2 years ago where they don't even go to the Pac-12 title game and they back their way into a Rose Bowl? I mean, that's probably on the table too.
Love.
What was it? Colorado went to against Stanford or something, and then Stanford won the Pac-12 title game, and Stanford got to go to some big bowl.
Yeah.
And then someone had to play in the Rose Bowl, so they picked USC.
Love.
And then they beat Penn State for the only marquee win of the Clay Helton era.
Love it. Keep him around forever, Michael. Now, how are you going to fire him? The guy was 11-3 and 10-3. Can't fire the guy.
He has the best. He has the best record in his first 2 years or something than any other USC coach.
You got to keep him, Michael.
There was a tweet going around at SeaWorld. It was he's 0-6 against Power 5 schools without Sam Darnold.
Sexy.
That's not good.
That's not good. Woo-hoo! Man, Michael, welcome to sports purgatory, my friend.
It's gonna. You know what's gonna happen, right?
What?
They're gonna get an aging Pete Carroll to come back because he's almost like 70 now, I think. So he's gonna flame out in Seattle, and then USC will get an aging Pete Carroll. It'll just compound worse.
It would be a sweet FU to the NCAA, that's for sure.
That's true. Maybe Reggie Bush could be his offensive coordinator.
Yes.
How the mighty have fallen. It's awful. It's awful. I think that's all I got. I don't know.
Well, Michael, you just gotta regroup.
I'm just here for Amon-Ra St. Brown. That's all I care about.
I mean, look, it's good. That's a good person to be here for,
I find him on my screen every time I look. I just watch him. That's it. That's all I care about. I don't care about Tyler Vaughns. I don't care about Michael Pittman. I don't care about Stephen Carr. Don't care about JT Daniels, Tyler Petit. It's over. The season's over.
Oh, Michael.
It's over.
They're winning the Pac-12 South.
I can't wait. I can't wait for a 8-4 USC team to win the Pac-12 South. It'll be beautiful. Beautiful football. All right. I don't think I have any other USC news and notes. Trojans fans, remember the game's on a Friday because the Pac-12 is the worst. Greg's at uhnd.com. I'll have probably a couple articles for you this week.
Oh, yeah. I got one coming out tomorrow, I think.
Stock Watch.
How dare you? Stock Report. It's not called that.
Sorry. That's your thing.
Mm-hmm.
I like it. It's a good gimmick.
Yeah.
It's better than Who's Hot and Cold or, I like it.
Yeah, it's my third year.
I like it. It's a good thing.
Thank you.
He's Greg2126 on Twitter. Follow him. He's got the freshest of takes. We're Tilting Ground on Twitter. Like I said, the website's got a lot of hits over the weekend. So
people are very excited.
People are very excited for losing football. Other than that, fight on.
Go Irish.